Well, we know that, okay, they wanted to innovate. They wanted to introduce new ways, no, of improving the process. But don't introduce something into a major event, no. Probably before they should have introduced the FTP, they should have tested it first. Before they should have probably introduced the VRBM, no. This is the
Voter
Biometrics.
registration
machine,
verification.
no? They should have tested it first in a low-level plebiscite or a special elections where the impact would have been contained, not in an elections which handle 61.8 million votes, no? If something goes wrong, then of course, no, there's an impact and the implications are huge, no? Or there's a ripple effect even. We always look at certain events, no, isolatedly, no, or even compartmentalize things, no. True, no, it may not have the transparency server may not have much higher value as compared to the central server, but when people look at the process, no, they look at it in a totality, no. So it's very important also to maintain the integrity of each and every aspect of that component.
But do you share her confidence that it didn't really alter the results, or the results are still credible? Do you share that confidence of Lente?
We cannot-
Listening to that explanation.
We cannot make a conclusion in the
Not
absence
yet,
of data.
at least.
We have to have data. This is precisely our point, even as early as December when we filed for our accreditation, because we knew that there are certain processes run by systems, no, that are hidden to the public.
But let me turn the statement on its head. You are also not saying that a problem with the transparency server automatically
Correct.
imputes some
Correct.
hanky-panky here.
That's
I
true.
think what you're saying is they didn't prepare enough, right?
Well, things could have been better. No? But again, no, introducing a lot of innovations at the last minute and not testing it, no, results to these things. No?
It's not something that can be done, say, within 3 years, because
Of
that's
course,
how
no?
often we...
Even as early, even as late as probably 6 months. You have the mock polls that was conducted last January. What were the findings? Was it inputted to the project management people? You had a final testing and sealing. I got some data immediately. Yeah, you could have used that as a feedback, no, to make necessary adjustments. No?
May napansin na ba kayo nun? Kasi you declined accreditation like a week before elections or 2 weeks before elections, no? But even before that, were you already involved somehow in the process?
Yes,
And
yes. There were some concerns even as early as 3 years ago, when they decided to exercise the option to purchase the machines. So that's already a major concern.
That was the VCMs.
That's for the VCMs alone.
But did you know about the transparency server that they were
Correct.
gonna
Yes,
switch to a new way
found
of...
about we found out about how the real, no, transmission flow really happens, and we were surprised that there was a meet me room which contains a, well, supposedly router, but the router is not a pass-through router, but it's a server.
It's a processor.
It's a processor.
Processor, yes.
So that's one.
Okay, what difference would that have made?
So the data may have been, well, how pristine the data is coming from the VCM machine might have been changed, no? Or you could have changed it.
You're talking about possibilities.
There's possibility.
You're not yet
I'm
talking
not
about
saying that it
probabilities.
happened, but
Yeah.
there's a possibility. While in a router, the data just passes through. Dumadaan lang yan.
Yeah.
Parang gate yan. No? Which leads to the various servers. No? So that's already a concern. And it's also, more important, it's illegal. No? It violates certain sections in the law.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Was
No.
that ever explained by Comelec? Why you have a processor instead of a router?
It was
But
not.
that was raised.
Yes.
Are
Both
you,
in
are
the
you
CAC.
asking for an explanation from Comelec? And are you going to participate in any
Well,
process
yes,
later?
of course, it was already put out that issue was already put out in the Joint Congressional
Yeah.
Oversight Committee. And of course, no, events happen, no, and it was never answered.
But what's plan B for NAMFREL, considering
We
all these
still
questions
we're
about the
appealing
machine?
to the public. Okay, this glitches happen, no, but there's no cause or reason for unnecessary worry. It
Okay.
happened, so
Okay.
what could be done?
Yes, exactly.